Hi, Dr. TJ Dixon here, connecting to your best life. Today's message is entitled, Grow from Where You Are Planted. This message has been on my heart and mind for the past couple of weeks. Perhaps there is someone that is watching this that this is going to really resonate with you. There are three things that I want to talk about and what I mean from grow from where you are planted. Sometimes we are at a point in our lives where it's time for us to move forward. We're trying to grow to be that next level person, or maybe there's a business that we're trying to grow. Perhaps we're trying to get to another level in our lives, and we will try to grow where we're at, where we are at, or where we think we ought to be at, instead of from where we are planted. So the first thing I want to say is be open about where you are growing from. Oftentimes we want to surround ourselves and get our support and get all of our nourishment and get all of our accolades from the people that we are used to, the ones who look like us and talk like us and think like us and are from our same neighborhoods or families or friends. And sometimes that's just simply not where we are actually planted. Sometimes we need to look at a new circle of people. We need to look at new places to try out and to step out and be adventurous so that we can grow from that area. You think about a plant. A plant can only grow so long in the same soil. Eventually, you're going to need to change out the soil. It might be used to the soil it's been in, but eventually you're going to have to add more soil, change out the soil in order for the plant to continue to grow and not start to shrivel and die. And it's the same thing with us. Sometimes we just got to break outside of those circles of familiarity that we are used to in order for us to grow from where we're planted. And then number two, be open to new places. Not just be open to new people, but new places and opportunities and just different thought processes than what you are currently used to. Because sometimes when you're getting to that next level, whatever you're used to, that's been great to get you to where you're at. But now to go to that next level, to grow from where you're planted, you're going to have to think outside the box that you put yourself in. And again, it goes back to the plant. If you ever had a house plant, you'll know that it can come in this really pretty pot and it can grow just fine, and you get it from the store and it's growing just fine. But eventually, the plant outgrows that pot because the roots have gotten bigger. The plant has gotten bigger. And if you don't transplant that plant into a bigger pot, it's either going to stay the same size, and oftentimes it will start to shrink and shrivel and then eventually die if it does not have room to grow. And it's the same thing with us, with our dreams, goals, aspirations, and even just our personal growth. If we don't get outside sometimes of these false boundaries that we put around ourselves and look out into the rest of the world where we could possibly need to land in order to grow from where we're planted, we're just going to stay the same or shrink, shrivel, and die. And those dreams and goals go along with that. So where you are planted from, it may not be the same neighborhood that you grew up in. It might not even be the same neighborhood you live in now. It might not even be in the same town, even the same country. Sometimes in order for us to grow from where we're planted, we have to be willing to move elsewhere. And that is another thing, is just to be open to all of that. And then the third and final thing that I want to say about grow from where you are planted is ask the Creator. Seek guidance and leading from the Creator. Because after all, the Creator knows more than what we know. We get used to what we're familiar with. We get comfortable. We only know what we know. And the Creator knows all. So sometimes when we are growing from where we're planted, and oftentimes when we're growing from where we're planted, we really need to rely on the Creator even more, that the steps we are taking is actually moving us into that growth, moving us to that next level. And sometimes we can't see beyond the step that we are on. Sometimes when we're growing from where we're planted, we get really uncomfortable really fast if we're allowing ourselves to grow, because it's not familiar territory. It's not it's not who we're used to and what we're used to. It's a brand new world. And in that brand new world, we can grow and blossom and be awesome, well, and great. So those are my 3 tips on growing from where you are planted. I will say in my own personal story, and what has helped me along the way is doing those 3 very things. And I'll give you a story about when I first published my book, Walking in Faith. And it was interesting because I wanted to get my books out into bookstores. And so the very first bookstore that I actually even approached about the fact that I had published this book, and I was really super excited and just really giddy about it, was a bookstore that I was very familiar with. And it seemed like it should have been, if anyone would have carried it, this bookstore would have carried my book, because after all, I had known the owners for many, many years, had watched my children grow up. It was in the neighborhood that I grew up in, everything. And I walked into this bookstore and I, talk about the book, and immediately I'm met with, basically with criticism that, I didn't do the book right. I shouldn't have went through the vehicle that I went through, using the technology I used to publish the book, that they couldn't carry the book, and basically gave me a rundown of everything that I had done incorrectly. And on top of it, did not carry my book. Now, mind you, it was well-meaning, and the people who talked to me knew me and thought they were doing a service to me by giving me their input and their insight on what I had done. Had I listened to that and just stayed in that spot and thought, well, if they don't carry it, no one will carry it, my book would not be out in bookstores today. Instead, I decided to grow from where I was planted, and I decided to approach yet another bookstore. So I got in my car, left that bookstore. They didn't carry my book, didn't do a book signing for me, none of it, just none of that they want to do. And I drove to another bookstore. And at this particular bookstore, these people did not know me. They didn't look like me. They didn't talk like me. It was in a totally different neighborhood from where I had grown up, from where I had lived. But I went in there and I talked to the person at the front counter about my book. Immediately, they says, oh, well, we'll buy 2 books from you and put them on our bookshelves here and sell the books. And I was so stunned because I'm like, wait a minute. You don't know me. I just walked off the street. You don't know me, but yet you believe enough in me to buy 2 books from me? Not consign them, but actually buy them from me, and you're going to actually put them on the bookstores, on your bookshelves? Sure enough, they did. And not only did they buy those, they bought others too. When those sold out, they called me and they bought others too to put on the bookshelves. And then finally, I approached yet another bookstore that they recommended that might be a great place for me to have a book signing, because they said their bookstore just wasn't a really great bookstore for that, but they wanted me to have a book signing and told me to approach yet another bookstore. Now, this bookstore was much bigger. The first 2 bookstores were small family-owned bookstores. The third bookstore also was a family-owned bookstore, but it was a much bigger bookstore, much more well-known. I go to that bookstore, and sure enough, they decide to consign 6 copies of my book. And not only that, they brought me in and had a book signing. I was able to do a book signing for free in the store and sold all of those copies plus some, and they have been a great supporter of mine. Again, not in the neighborhood I'm used to. The people don't look like me. They don't know me, but yet they believed enough in what I was doing in order for me to grow from where I was planted from. So again, I just wanted to share my story with you because you yourself also may be in that same position where the very people who would be the most likely suspects you think to give you support may not give you any support at all. In fact, they may down or try to criticize what you're doing. Do not despair. Do not give up. Instead, look outside of that circle and see who else may be able to empower you and grow from where you are planted from. Thank you for watching. And if you have enjoyed this video and you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe below. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for the subscription. And if you'd like to know more about the healing and wellness work I do, check out my Facebook page at www.drtjdixon.com. I don't mean my Facebook page, I'm sorry, my website at www.drtjdixon.com. You can catch me on Facebook. Again, on Facebook is Dr. TJ Dixon. And my business page on Facebook is Taraji LLC. If you want to go out and like that page, that'd be great too. Once again, thank you for watching. Grow from where you're planted from, and may you live your best life.